YouTube. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. We're talking Auburn football, SEC, and the like. I had an interesting comment from a subscriber, or I'm assuming a subscriber, that was wondering about Gus Malzahn's future. Right now, Gus Malzahn has not been on the short list of guys to take over coaching spots in 2021. He's among the 4 SEC coaches that were terminated last year. Like the video, comment, and subscribe. As always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. Gus Malzahn pretty much spent the last 10 years as a Auburn coach in some fashion, whether it be offensive coordinator or head coach. Both of those tenures produced an appearance to the national championship. One in 2010, which he won as an offensive coordinator, and one in 2013, which he was seconds away from giving Auburn their second national championship in 3 years. It was going to be a very Alabama-ish type situation to where a lot of those guys would have gotten their second national championship as an Auburn player. Auburn comes up short. Gus Malzahn promises to come back in 2014, only gives Auburn an 8-5 season, accompanied by several 5+ loss seasons, one more appearance in the SEC championship, and then terminated from Auburn in 2020 after a victory against Mississippi State. Footnote: the dance he did after the Mississippi State game was absolutely terrible. Maybe he thought that was a game that was going to solidify his spot, but absolutely not. One day later, Gus Malzahn fired as the football coach. But the conversation piece here, before we get back to some of the Kevin Harsin and new coaches, because I want to talk about the wide receivers coach tomorrow, maybe. I think tomorrow I'll do that video. But either way, where does Gus Malzahn go from here? Hefty buyout from Auburn, $21 million. He actually pledged $2 million to the football-only facility for Auburn, which, of course, will probably never crystallize because obviously he's not there. But what will Gus Malzahn do next? Number one, I don't think he's going to be a head coach anywhere. Because when you look at his body of work, Gus Malzahn, many years as a high school football coach, brought a lot of that high school football mentality to a Power 5 program that was, Power 5 was, during the Gus Malzahn's tenure, Power 5 was actually trending to what it is now. One, you got to recruit very, very well. Something that, even though statistically it appeared that Gus recruited well, but he didn't recruit well in the right spots. One, he didn't recruit well at the wide receiver spot. Number two, he didn't recruit well at the offensive line, they did pretty well at the defensive line, but on the offensive side of the line of scrimmage, just didn't get it done. You look at the teams who were very successful between, post 2010 when Auburn won the national championship, post 2013 when Auburn made another appearance to the national championship, teams started to recruit very well at the offensive line and also at the wide receiver position. A position that Gus Malzahn just didn't do well in. And he had an opportunity, I think in 2016, when he had Damian Craig, when they had those 5 wide receiver recruits that just didn't pan out to the level that we expected. Auburn missed out on the boat. Next thing you know, Auburn is abysmal with moving the football. No wide receiver on the squad is in any way a threat to any defensive coordinator. Even if they did get 100 yards, still not a threat. Because yards after catch, probably if we dig into the stats, probably not as great as you would want. Definitely not on the level of some of the higher tier teams that took advantage of great wide receivers and good defensive players, good offensive linemen. Gus Malzahn didn't do that. He didn't recruit well locally, which didn't make sense because there's a lot of talent in the state of Alabama. So where does Gus Malzahn go now? I mean, he had some relative success. He beat Alabama a couple of times, only at home though. The record against the rivals, nothing to sneeze at. But where does he go? I don't think any Power 5 team would be interested in Gus Malzahn as a head coach. His philosophies are very deceptive in nature. He doesn't bode well with fan bases. He doesn't particularly recruit well in the spots that you need him to. So where does he go? Gus Malzahn talks a good game. I think where you may find Gus Malzahn, he may actually follow his buddy Gene Chizik in the sports analyst area. I really like Gus Malzahn's stage presence when he presents himself. He talks a good game. I think he'll be a great analyst for the SEC network. Or maybe even a correspondent to the ESPN. But as far as coaching, I just don't see it. He's not willing to elevate his game to the next level as a coach. He's not willing to allow the coaches. See, it's done. The whole thing about a head coach in Power 5 football being a do-it-all guy, that's done. You're paying assistants in the upwards of $400,000 a year or better to do their job, and you don't allow them to do it, and he won't allow them to do it. So chances are you're going to catch Gus Malzahn maybe as like I said, a sports analyst. He may even be definitely not an offensive coordinator, but definitely an analyst of the game. I wish Gus Malzahn well. Didn't always agree with what he did while he was in his tenure at Auburn. I think he did the best he could based on what not only he knew and not only what he was willing to sacrifice, but he missed a lot of opportunities at Auburn. One of those was red zone scoring. Couldn't score in the red zone. Couldn't figure that out, especially after the 2015 season. But leave in the comment section, guys, where you think the future of Gus Malzahn may be. And we will get back to the specific Auburn coverage. There's a lot of stuff that, to really untackle with this. A lot of stories have come across my desk, and I will resume the specific Kevin Harsin Auburn talk as early as tomorrow. Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. I thank you for your subscriptions, even though a lot of you guys don't always agree with what we're talking about. I may even jack up some names. I said a couple of videos ago that Kirby Smart got fired from Georgia, but y'all know what I was talking about. He didn't get fired from Georgia. It was Will Muschamp from South Carolina. Those things let me know that you all actually listened to the video. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.